Hello, how are you doing? I'm going to call you fellow creatives. I hope you're okay with that. Because that's what you are, right? We're all in this together. It's a lovely sunny day here in Bristol, so I thought today is the perfect day to share some thoughts on breaking through the resistance to creativity. It's a classic subject and it's something I'm sure we all struggle with. I certainly do, and we all have our good and bad days on that front. So these are thoughts that I've gleaned from my research and my own experience over the years, that I offer to you humbly as someone who is still on that path. And I suppose there are four main areas that I'm going to be delving into. The first is our creative mindset. The second is taking the plunge. The third is dealing with distractions, classic subject, one of my faves. And finally, getting encouragement. So let's start with that first one. I see the whole spheres of resistance as concentric circles. So you've got the creative task at the centre, and the circles around that are where you experience the most creativity. The closer you get to it, and particularly if it involves a lot of mental effort, the greater the resistance is going to be. And then the more you get to the periphery, well, this is where we're dealing with our general creative identity and how much we engage with that. And the classic thing, isn't it, is to deal with the hows and the whats of the creative task itself. But I want to start with the periphery. I've been reading Rainer Maria Rilke, try saying that in a hurry, and his Letters to a Young Poet. Have you read those? They're absolutely brilliant, and I return to them again and again because he focuses on this outer circle, the question of why. Why am I doing this? Why am I a poet? Why bother, essentially? And it's something that we don't nurture enough because it's more abstract than the concrete product. And sometimes we get creativity confused with productivity. And clearly the two are allied, but they're different, right? It's important to have a product that you aim for and that you can share at the end and be encouraged by. But we need to nurture the soil in which that product grows. And that's actually harder to do. Maybe it starts with stillness at the beginning of the day, just inviting in a creative space right at the start. And in so doing, you're saying, this is important to me. Because I'm starting the day with it, this is important to me. This is important to my identity as a creative artist. And you're going to nurture that identity throughout the day with periods of stillness, whether it's through walking, whether it's through creating a kind of an inner retreat where you are able to find a space that you're dealing purposely with the creative task at hand. So it's not just meditative wandering, although that can be an important thing too, but it does have a sense of purpose and goal to it. And it has a sense of value. You can nurture that through taking notes throughout the day and have a small notebook that you can fit in your pocket and be old school about it, you know. Why old school? Because it's important to avoid the screen, isn't it? We all know that. We all want to get away from screens. They're like seagulls bursting into our creative cave that we've found finally, and we don't need that. Just a small little thought here on avoiding screens. What if you imagined the screen itself was white hot and you were going to burn your finger were you to actually touch the screen? It just allows you, doesn't it? A little chink of time, a little moment of hesitation before you commit to that rabbit hole that is the screen. So maybe that will help. And if not, say, look, I'm just going to have 3 times during the day where I'm going to connect with whatever it is, social media, YouTube, whatever it is. And you really take that seriously, that amount of screen time, because this stillness that you have can be so easily ruptured and then cloyed and clotted up with unhelpful thoughts. So that is attending to the outer circle, your creative stance, and making it part of your overall identity. Being proud of it, you know. I am a creative artist. That is what I am at centre. then you've got to take the plunge. And there are two schools of thought as far as I can see it on this. One says, make it easier by just teasing your way into it. It's like rolling out the red carpet. Sharpen the pencils, have the blank manuscript there, or whatever it is. And that's akin to really just tottering into the cold waves, isn't it, before actually going under. Or there's the just get on with it and take away the amount of time that you spend even thinking about whether you're going to take the plunge or not. And I'm very much on that side of things, I have to say. That works for me. I have to share with you that I take cold showers every day, not least because it's a good discipline of just getting through that sense of initial resistance to the thought, right? The more you just think, maybe it's going to be a little bit... No, you don't want to even go there, right? You just get in the cold shower, and that's how you do it. The same is true with the creative task, in my opinion. Just, if it's writing some words or writing some music, just get doodling. Just get going and see where that takes you. And you can treat it like a quick dip. This is important. Too often we're thinking, right, okay, I'm going to settle down now for an hour or even hours of creativity. It's going to be great. And by the end of it, I'll have written my first movement of my symphony. And we create these really ambitious targets, don't we? And we hold ourselves to it because we're productive beings. Be happy not to do that, Why not you say, I'm going to do 10 minutes of writing just 8 bars or 100 words, and that's fine. I'm going to learn from that. And the important thing is I've taken the plunge, I've taken the quick dip, and I've just got into some kind of flow. And you'll find typically that, for me, it's after about 10 minutes or so that you will find some kind of flow, and creativity breeds creativity in that sense. So it's just a matter of getting started, and there is no way around, I think, just taking the plunge, get into the cold water, and soon it will become warm. So I encourage you to do that. Once you're there, brush the critic off the shoulder, because he or she doesn't belong there. They just don't have any part in that part of the creative process at all. And just don't prejudge what your doodles could become. They're such an important part of this initial gestation. So there's a question of patience there, I think, isn't there? Patience with yourself and with the task as a whole. The third area is distractions. Now, we've covered this a little bit with screens, which is, they're the main distraction, aren't they, of our modern day lives. But I think there's a calling to us to become our own gurus in this respect. Become your own guru in what distracts you most. Why not actually over a week make some notes, Take a journal of your own distractions, observe them, because it's actually in observing that we create that really critical distance that allows us to laugh at them, treat them gently, say, oh yeah, I've just fallen down yet another YouTube rabbit hole. Speaking about my own particular rabbit holes, you'll have your ones that to avoid as well. You can just treat them lightly, and you with that distance have a chance then just to come back to the task at hand and be kind to yourself and realise, that's okay, that's just happened. Let's not make it happen again, maybe. So be a guru about your own distractions and take them seriously. And try to surgically remove them from your day, and be quite strategic perhaps about how you position them. Finally, encouragement. Creativity is a very lonely thing, isn't it? And necessarily so. We have to go deep within ourselves, and that requires a certain kind of solitude. I spoke about the inner retreat and that stillness earlier. So it really helps to have a critical friend. In fact, not a critical one, not yet, just a buddy, an encouraging friend where you've just shared at the beginning what the mountain is that you hope to climb. And you're saying, look, can I check in at various times? not perhaps to share too much of what you're creating, because that can come later. You don't have to be accountable and feel scrutinized in that sense all the way through the process. It maybe is helpful towards the end, but certainly just to have that buddy and that encouragement right at the start of the process, I think is so important. Too much of the time we involve our buddies and our critical friends later on when we feel we've got something to share. But let's get them in sooner and say, look, I feel like I just want to check in with you a couple of times a week just to say how things are going and see if that can be reciprocated. And that's the whole point, isn't it? You're companions in the creative process. So there you go. Cultivate that inner retreat and center silence. Take the plunge and break down the task so it's something that you feel you can achieve in 10 minutes, say. And then be a guru about your own distractions and find a creative buddy. I hope that will help you. It certainly helped me. And if you're watching this on YouTube, then do click subscribe, because I will be posting shortly some more videos on some tips and tricks on I suppose getting out the rut of creativity. That's so important, isn't it, to have those provocations, just to hold our own habits and ruts in check. So I'll be doing some of that, and I'm looking forward to interviewing some creatives that I really respect and admire. So thank you so much for watching, and until the next time, happy creating.